Good morning. Let's talk about mistrust. We often associate this to betrayal, by extension, self doubts, or fears. We must have heard of people having trust issues. It could be one of our closest friends, or it could be you. Critical question is always, how does it begin? Does it start at that time that our self concept on betrayal is already well formed? You know, those moments that we sadly discovered that one of our closest friends actually betrayed us over something. Or does it even emerge at that time that we were still learning how to speak a language and even the word betrayal wasn't yet in our vocabulary? In this narrative inquiry, we are going to explore how mistrust emerges and how it tends to remain constant in the individual's persona through the lenses of their childhood experiences. My name is Daryl Nico Sempron of Central Mindanao University, and it is my honor to present to you in this forum one of my academic papers entitled The Unconscious Epigenesis of Childhood Self-Concept on Mistrust. The evolution of self-concept stems from the established idea that it silhouettes the perception of oneself. This inquiry revealed that the emergence of mistrust comes in a dichotomy being the offshoot of the unconscious feeling of betrayal that happened when the unconscious demand of the child was not gratified by the parents in the early years of life, and its constancy characterized by reoccurrence, painful recollection, and feeling unseen in the individual's persona. The basic axiom that this study yielded is that the unconscious advent of mistrust, while can be repressed, can always be channeled to any form. Nevertheless, this study not only echoed one to be critical, but also teaches empathy and thereby grounded further the epigenesis of self-understanding. The aim of the inquiry was to improve the understanding of the subject of mistrust through the lenses of childhood experiences. Thereby, it explored the meanings behind the childhood experiences of selected informants. Basically, the structure of this inquiry is built by the following constructs: self-concept, childhood experiences, and mistrust, with empathy as its ultimate goal. Self-concept, by its very own logic, is the understanding of the self. Among the theories that set up torches to understand the matter was the psychosocial development theory of Erikson, claiming that environmental influence, particularly on how earlier experiences gradually build upon the next and result in one's personality. That is, the degree to which parents' affection, translated on reading the child, becomes an element of creating a balance of what he called as syntonic and dystonic. Nevertheless, this had not been undertaken to predispose the Ericksonian theory. It did not test nor dispute Erikson. It merely embarked the theory in looking into the self-concept of the chosen informants. The study is qualitative by its nature and tradition, employing the narrative inquiry design, for which the data collection was done through one-on-one interviews. From the transcriptions, thematic analysis was done in which significant statements were highlighted, thereby themes appeared. The analysis and interpretations then had been guided by the Collazy method, influenced by the Heideggerian interpretive approach. Moreover, epoche or bracketing had safeguarded the data, analysis, and interpretations from personal judgments and assumptions. As a result, as you can see, the themes developed were the emergence of mistrust and the constancy of mistrust. All informants admitted to having trust issues, trusting other people, more importantly, trusting themselves. The emergence of this mistrust from the confessions and from their experiences is built by the following building blocks: experiences on abandonment and trauma. Like in the case of informant 1, being born out of wedlock, his mother was unprepared to raise him by the time that he was born, so his mother left him. And the traumatic experience he had from his father when he first met him. That embarrassment caused by his father's reaction, that shame that up until this point he continues to feel and could not seem to forget, unconsciously become a baseline as to how he sees himself and how he sees other people as capable of hurting him the way his parents did. Moreover, the experiences of cruelty of informants 4, 5, and 6 from their fathers become a fixation of feeling that kind of protection that they never felt from their fathers, and become the reason of why they become self-sufficient and believing that people are capable of hurting them the way their fathers did. So they don't bother trusting anyone at all. In hindsight, when asked about how they look at themselves at this present time, one can elucidate from their confessions the tendency of mistrust to remain in their personas despite efforts of moving on. This constancy is characterized by that reoccurrence that informant 1 has described and how it affects his present self. The painful recollection of those painful memories that informants 7, 8, and 10 had went through, and singularly that feeling of being unseen that informant 9 continues to feel in her situation. From these results, the claim of this inquiry is that mistrust, when it emerges, while can be repressed for a time and for another time, it has its way of coming back and hunting back the person in an unpredictable situation. The rhetoric of the confessions of the informants in this inquiry made us understand that mistrust is an offshoot of the ungratification or unreciprocated demand of the growing child for affection, which unconsciously appears to be a form of betrayal. Hence, the child already felt betrayed before learning what it is. As it emerges and the persona evolves, mistrust tends to remain constant and thereby translated to varying forms and associations. Example: fear, self-doubts, low self-esteem, reoccurrence, painful recollection, and the list goes on. Moving forward, this inquiry paved the way for the idea that self-concept does not happen the moment the world has been introduced to us, particularly the self-concept on mistrust. It comes through the moment we were born. Once again, my name is Daryl Nico Sempron, and thank you for joining with me in this delicate inquisition. And now more than ever, this inquiry gives credit to the following references in helping from the conceptualization to finishing this delicate piece of academic work.